Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for being here. I'm just gonna give a couple of minutes to give everyone time to join, to turn on your camera so we can see each other. And we can start in about a minute. Okay. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Welcome to this. I think this is the fourth session of our cohort. My name is Yandi Reynoso. I am an Education USA advisor for Education USA in Mexico City. And I will be conducting this session. We have also in the audience my colleagues, Jenny, Elizabeth, and Juanma, who are also your advisors. And yeah, so I will be doing this session. Before we start, I just want to mention something about the assignment that was given on Juanma's session, the survey that you already took. Reach out to your advisor and follow up with them. You don't need to update it on the Google Classroom. Just share the results of your survey through email and with your advisor, whether it's Elizabeth, Jenny, myself, Juanma, or myself. So yeah, don't worry about that. Follow up directly with them if they haven't done so. So today we're going to be talking about the overview of the student athlete process and understanding athletic associations. This session will cover a lot of important information. So it's really important for you to take notes, take your screenshots, whatever it's easier for you. Of course, this session will be recorded, and we will share the presentation with you on Google Classroom. I will highly encourage you after today, go to Google Classroom and download the presentation, because I have added many great resources with the links that are on the presentation. So please make sure to review those after today. Take the time to click on the links that I will be sharing with you. So this is today's agenda. We will be talking a little bit more about the sporting associations. We will specifically talk a little bit more about NCAA, and we will be navigating the recruitment process, some things that you should already be doing and working on, and just general information. And of course, I will be sharing with you some great resources. So let's start talking about the sporting associations. So I know some of you are already familiar with this. Some of you might done already your research or know someone that is already playing in the US or has a friend or whatever. So in the US, intercollegiate competition is sanctioned by different college divisions. The college sports sector in the US spans over 500,000 student athletes competing in more than 20 different top level sports. So you'll be forgiven for not fully understanding the ins and outs of each division and how they play into the overall structure of the industry. Each sporting session, association, it's also responsible for overseeing the championships, as well as establishing and enforcing the rules for its member institutions. So having said that, these are the three sporting associations that exist in the US. As I said, I'm going to be focusing a little bit more about the NCAA sporting associations, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, I want you to acknowledge that how cool is that you play a sport at a high level, in that you will be competing and submitting an applications to an American university to keep playing. So congrats. These sporting associations can be a great financial pathway for you, but it won't be the only pathway for you. These presentations, as I said, will highlight the formal process of becoming a varsity level student athlete. We will talk about the major sporting association, as I said, as you see in front of your screen. And something that I really want to emphasize is that this association exists to serve and to protect students. They focus overall in fairness, and also the student well-being, and also academic success. So to kick us off, I'll start talking about the NCAA, which is the focus of the presentation. And the reason is because it's the largest opportunity for students all around the world. There are more than 1,100 institutions that subscribe to one of the three different divisions within the NCAA. There are more than 500 student athletes participating in the 24 different sports, and through these, there is actually about 90 different championship opportunities to have this sporting experience. Also, a big part of the NCAA participation divisions 1 and 2 is scholarship opportunities. Let's talk briefly about the other sporting association, the NAIA. I don't know if that's how you say it, which in general, we're talking about smaller universities within this association. About 250 member schools, and generally that we see on these campuses, what we see in these campuses is that their student body, it's about 1,100 students on campus, often private institutions as well. And there are about 50,000 students participating in this association. They generally tend to be the mainstream youth sports, so keep that in mind. They do also have scholarships available for you. And now the last association, NJCAA, which really is in the 2-year college space, meaning that students will need to transfer to another institution to complete their bachelor's degree. And so within this association, there is about 500 different member schools. I know I'm giving you a lot of stats, but I wanted to start this presentation with that, so you get an idea about the background of these associations. So now let's take a closer look to the NCAA association. These are all the different sports within this association. There, as I said, there are about 24 of them, but you might find as you are going through this list that there's actually some unique opportunities. For example, you see rifle, and also take a look at the emerging sports that you see on your right. equestrian, women's rugby, triathlon, and all of these emerging sports. So I'm pretty sure the sport that you play is in this list. Moving on, again, a closer look into the 3 different divisions that exist within the NCAA. As we mentioned before, and a little bit of background why it's divided in 3, it's that they were created to group like-minded institutions in terms of overall philosophy and even size of the student body for each of the institutions that it's within these divisions. So starting with Division 1, which you will hear a lot. And when I think about Division 1, I think big. That's the word that comes to me. Because in this division, it's where you get the big budget, you get the big stadiums, you get the big teams. In the US, you typically see games and championships with that are broadcasted on TV in this division, in Division 1. So there is a different level of exposure here in this division. In general, this division, they tend to be to have the largest student body on their campuses, with about 80,000 students on average. And of course, there can be certain kind of institutions in these divisions that can be significantly higher student populations than that. And again, generally speaking, Division 1 has the highest level of play, but also competition. And one fact is that student athletes in this division graduate at a higher rate than the general student population. So about 80% of student athletes in this division graduate, so which is great. Now, in terms of Division 2, it's a little bit more of a medium division, so to speak. They have typically smaller student bodies on their campuses with about, as you see on screen, about 2,300 students, and they have a really unique sporting culture on their campuses as well, because 1 out of 11 students will participate in a sport. So as you can imagine, this kind of population creates a fun environment. In terms of level of play, depending on the sport, also Division 2 tends to be a little bit more of, to have a little bit more of a balance, I would say, life in terms of practice and also in terms of study time, which could also be great for you. Division 1 and 2 also require your academics to be evaluated by NCAA Eligibility Center. So registration will be required as part of the process. And I will cover a little bit more about that a little bit later. For Division 3, there is not a registration required. In this division, it's really common for students to play at a higher level, but also to study very intensively and also to have a social life. It's the largest division in the NCAA, more than 400 different institutions, and they also tend to be smaller campuses in terms of size. So if that's something that you're looking for, a smaller campus maybe, then probably Division 3 could be the way to go. Because there are no sports scholarships offered in this Division 3, I think it's often overlooked, especially overseas, like for example in our countries, but it shouldn't be, because there tend to be a lot of different types of funding, mostly academic awards that go with these students. And this is certainly something that coaches are eager to recruit, global talent for their teams in Division 3, as there are in also the other divisions that I mentioned. So this gives us a little bit of background the three associations and the three divisions that exist within the NCAA. Now let's talk a little bit more about what the journey looks like to become an international student athlete. Going back a little bit more with the Division 1, 2, and 3. Division 3 has the highest percentage of student athletes on some type of financial aid. And as we talked about before, those are not sports scholarships. Those are typically academic scholarships and other things as well. As you see on screen, sports scholarships, this is how they can look like to you. Keep in mind that you will need to discuss this directly with the coaches, but as you can see here on screen, it can be a full scholarship that includes everything from tuition, fees, room, board, books, gear, travel, and all of those things can be included in these full scholarships. But it is also possible to receive partial scholarship, which might be only tuition and fees or books or other perks. There are a few ways that you can navigate this journey. You can either be headhunted if you're really good at what you're playing, and you are, say, for example, Mexico has a very strong reputation in a particular sport. Coaches could reach out to you directly to find for some spots on their teams. So it is entirely possible, of course, I will say, to navigate this journey with our help, with your Education USA advisor. That's why you're here. Now, let's talk a little bit more about some important tools, and we're going to be breaking down each of these 8 steps that you are going to be doing and working with your Education USA advisor. There are some things that you can start working on, like right now. Of course, reach out and talk to your advisor. So there are other things that you should probably wait a little bit more, but definitely there are things that you can start working on right now. So things you need to do to be recruited as a student athlete in the US. The first step, as I mentioned, is that you will need to register with the NCAA Sport Association. This is for Division 1 and for Division 2. You need to also register to the other association that I mentioned as well, the NAIA, NAIA as well. Going back a little bit more with how you can register with this sporting association, NCAA, with students, if you are aspiring to be recruited by NCAA, you have 2 options when you create your account. One is a certification account, and the other one is a free profile page. So we will encourage you to set up a profile page regardless of what you think you want to do. And this can happen as early as year 9, meaning tercero de secundaria. I know some of you are already past year 9. So this is one of the things that maybe you can start working on right now. The advantage of this is that the NCAA can generate you an ID number, and they can start sending you emails about your timeline requirements. The only thing that ever turns in from a profile page account to a certification account is generally by you, students, taking your parents' credit card and paying $150 and turning that into a certification account. And that really is becoming probably a point that they need to do if you are being heavily recruited by a fellow team, or if you get another offer by a coach. So you can start putting all this information within the NCAA accounts because generally the timing on when the NCAA can do anything with your account can happen until close towards the end of school years. So this is something that you can start working on right now. And this, it probably take you about 45 to 60 minutes to set this up. If you have any questions, there are many resources online that can tell you exactly how to set it up. Of course, still part of the first step is to identify which association matches you. One of the things that I want to share with you is these great resources. Sorry. This company is not related to Education USA, but they have set up a really good recruitment guide, recruiting guide that will let you take advantage of. You can look at any of your respective sports from the NCAA, and it will list what coaches are looking for, and also if you have a talent profile to be recruited for Division 1, 2, or 3. So of course, I will share this resource with you, so you can start doing a little bit more research. Of course, you're probably aware of many colleges search tools. You will be very familiar with this one, which is the College Board search tool as well. I think later on, we're gonna have a session on how to navigate your options, but this is something that you can start doing a little bit more research. It's really easy to use. You will be able to choose not only your sport, but other things to take into consideration, and you will get a full list of possibilities. Also, another great tool is that the website of the NCAA has a college search tool available as well. So sometimes these are a little bit hidden within the website, but no worries, we will share these links so you can do your own research. And this tool will let you search an institution, and again, you can pick divisions in the different sports, or if there are any states that you are interested in studying and going. I also wanted to add this because I know that maybe some of you will have the opportunity to travel to do a visit to the US, to travel and visit a campus. So I just wanted to share these resources while you are on a campus visit, or if you reach out through email, through to an institution. Maybe these are some of the things that you want to consider asking them about. Of course, you can ask them about academic resources, scholarship renewals, financial aid, admission requirements, but what else? Think about outside the box. For example, study abroad internships, athletic training and medical expenses, team time demands, on-campus housing, coaching philosophy and style, injuries and rehab, schedule planning and time management, and also playing time. So these are just some general topics that will help you to be better prepared when reaching out. And also this link has specifically, I'm not gonna click on it because it will take me somewhere else, but you can review it later. It is a great resource for you because it has specific questions that you can take into consideration when reaching out to a coach or when reaching out to a university. The second step is to develop your support profile. This part requires a lot of effort you need to put yourselves in front of the coaches, sorry, to be recruited. You will spend a lot of time, as I said, doing this profile. What does this profile needs to have? As you see on screen, explain your athletic talents, your skills, teams you have represented, your country, your state, etc. List your sporting achievements, including some statistics that are important, including times, including results, and some other stats that will help you be profiled. Also, international students, I think you will have a bigger challenge to be, of course, recruited by a US coach, because they don't get to see you compete in your own countries unless the coach visits the country, but that doesn't happen very often. So you need to get on the coach radar, as I said, as they probably not be traveling to Mexico. So some things that coaches cannot do, for example, as you see on screen, coaches cannot contact, call, or return your emails until a specific period of time. That is generally September 1st during your junior year of high school. This process takes time, of course, and you're encouraged to be proactive, to be organized. And also, of course, we will be sharing maybe with you some other resources on how you can start working on this. But you can start doing your own research about how this profile looks like. And also make sure on the NCAA website, they have great resources for you. So going a little bit more on this, I know the picture doesn't look very well, but try not to exceed 3 pages. You can include the following, some of the things I already mentioned, and a video of games and competition, not just a highlight video as I wrote in there. These are just some suggestions, again, that you might include. Also, a reference from your coach, from your current coach, is really important, because oftentimes US coaches can communicate with them directly. So as I said, make sure to include some of your personal details, but also sports achievements. And you can also include what else you do besides sports, if you are involved with any extracurricular activities as well. Another tip that it'll be great to you as you start doing this research is to learn from others how have profiled themselves. There is a great opportunity for you to reach out to current students maybe that are already studying in the US. I know you know someone who's playing in the US, or you have a friend who has gone over this process. So I will suggest to identify my former student athletes and ask them to share their story with you. Ask them how they were recruited, their insights, and their own experiences. I know online there are many forums, many blogs, many websites on YouTube of these students sharing their own stories. So I think it'll be great for you to start doing that research. Check out, as I said, other profiles. You can either create your own website when you start working on your profiles, your own website. For example, you can start a WordPress, a blog, which it's free. You can start a YouTube channel, or you can use a profile showcase as well. Obviously, when you are profiling yourselves, creating footage is very important. That takes me to the next step. Footage, it doesn't need to be professionally done. Coaches will let you know that is not what they're looking for. They're not looking for something super professional. They don't need to see a highlight reel, because that will only show your best parts. They will need to see a combination. For example, a coach would like to see an example of half a game of your sport in combination with your highlights as well. So be creative, start doing your research about how you can start working in this footage if it's something that you don't have, or if it's something that you would like to improve the material that you already have. On screen, I will suggest you to later watch this video. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to watch this. It's a video of one of our colleagues from Education USA in Australia. They did a short interview to a US institution, and they share great tips that can be applied to any sports. So of course, I will make sure to share that resource with you. Another requirement in STEP is in regards of these 16 core subjects in your high school transcripts from your 4 years or 3 years of high school. This is very important in regards of Division 2 and Division 1 and Division 2, because these are key requirements. Division 1 and Division 2 schools require college-bound student athletes to meet academic standards for NCAA approved core courses and core course GPA. It's not only that, okay, I play the sport, I'm gonna go play in the US. No, because something that I read today that makes a lot of sense, you're called student athlete. Student comes first, then the athlete. So you also need to be a good student. To be eligible to practice, compete, and also to receive an athletic scholarship in your first full-time year at a Division 1 school, you must complete these following requirements for Division 1 and Division 2. English, math, algebra or higher, science, including 1 year of lab, if offer, additional English, math, or science, and also social science, and also additional courses. Any area listed to the left for language or non-doctrinal religion philosophy. So don't worry, don't panic. There are many resources, because I know some of you like, oh, how do I know if I taken the classes that are gonna be approved by the NCAA Eligibility Center? As I said, this will be a great resource that I please beg you, encourage you to download. And if you have the opportunity, print it off, take it to Office Max, to your house, to your school, to your dad's work, anywhere, and print it, because it will give you great information and great details about how to navigate this journey. They publish these guides, the NCAA publish these guides yearly. So this is the 22-23 guide. These, besides going over the requirements and everything I've said, this will give you a guide on how to evaluate the courses that I've already taken or that I'm taking, and see how they meet the requirements of these 16 core subject. So again, I put here on the slide on my presentation, starting on page 25. I'm not going to click on this, but it will take you to this worksheet that is similar to what you see on screen. So there's a worksheet for Division 1, there's a worksheet for Division 2, and this will help you to monitor your progress in meeting these NCAA initial eligibility standards. As I said, the NCAA Eligibility Center will determine your academic status after you graduate. And of course, as I mentioned, there is the same resource for Division 2 students. Also, within the NCAA website, there is a specific page that talks to you, to Mexican students. And this specific section talks Spanish, talks Mexican grades, talks Mexican subjects. So I will encourage you to review the Mexico academic guidelines. It has a country page specific, but of course focus on the Mexico one because it also talks about the international academic requirements, talking about Mexico specifically. Here includes, as you see on screen, a document specifically about Mexico, but it also includes the typical educational paths and also a list of academic credentials to satisfy proof of graduation from school here in Mexico. So use this document to guide you and to assist you as you navigate this process. So that's going to be your homework after today. Please navigate all of these resources. And I'm pretty sure it will make more sense of what I'm saying after you review these resources. Another thing that you will be required to do is to have a recommendation or reference letter from your coach. They are very useful to have one letter from your coach, as I mentioned before, since they will be your best advocate in highlighting your talent, your potential, what you have accomplished. They become your voice in highlighting what you could offer. And also, as I mentioned, US college coaches often want to contact them. So this is something that you are also going to be working on. Also, another thing that you're going to be working on is the standardized test. So something really important is that started in this year, in January 2023, NCAA Divisions 1 and 2 adopted legislation to remove standardized test scores from initial eligibility requirements. Having said that, you still need to check with the NCAA school you plan to attend if these test results are required or not for admissions, because there might be the case that they won't be necessarily for the NCAA divisions 1 or 2, but it'll be a requirement for you to get an admission to that university, or even for scholarship requirements. So if you have any questions about this, the first thing that I will suggest you is to contact the school directly to see what are the rules, but you can also, I have added the email where you can send your questions, and of course reach out to your advisor. Another thing that of course you're going to be doing is contacting coaches. So in regards to this, please be prepared as much as possible. When you make this first contact, you should have your profile and your footage in place, because you want to make a good impression from the very beginning. I have shared just here an email template that you can use as a reference or as a starting point. You will need to write this in your own style. Athletes can also initiate communication by emailing coaches of programs that you are interested in as early as possible. You can send them, as I said, your materials, your athletic resume. This will include, as I mentioned, we already talked about footage, your sport-specific statistics, your academic information, and also why are you interested in their program. Also, some other things that you want to know is that coach might contact you. I will again encourage you to review these two great resources, because these are recruiting guidelines for each sport and for each division. guidelines that will help you navigate this process better. And I know these NCAA recruiting rules can be very detailed and can be very tricky to understand. But I think one of the most common questions a student asks is when college coaches can start contacting their athletes. For most sports, coaches can begin reaching out to athletes, as I said earlier, starting in June, after sophomore year, or starting September of their junior year of high school. More specifically, it depends. I don't like to say that, but it depends. Coach contact depends on the sport that you're playing, on your age, and also the division level, and of course the different channels of communications. And lastly, but not least important, is that this, as I mentioned, this whole journey requires of your academic rigor and your academic efforts. As I said earlier, you are also a student. You are a student before an athlete, because you not only are also playing, but you are also studying in the US. So as you see on screen, remember, you're a student first and an athlete second. Student athlete. As you identify athletic programs to be your best fit, you must also be aware, of course, of the admission requirements that you will need to complete. We already covered that on Jenny's, I think it was the second or first session, I don't remember, but she already covered that. And you are not only required to meet the academic requirements, but you need to be able to maintain your academic results to compete at these institutions. Before we wrap up, just a couple of more resources that I will share with you. First of all, follow NCAA on social media and browse their website. You'll spend, I know all of you are on Instagram, probably on Twitter, probably on Facebook, and that goes also to parents. Follow them in social media, follow them in YouTube, and see what they're up to, see what they're posting, and see what of this content will be helpful to you. And as I said, browse their website. They have everything you need to know on their website. You just need to take the time to read and to do a little bit more research. Of course, we're here to help you, but you also need to do your part. Again, when you start doing a little bit more of research in this process, I mentioned a lot doing your own research, because this is the main thing of this program is, as I said, that you also put effort into this. So you need to start doing your research, and also to start engaging with these different associations that I talked about before. So of course, this session, this link, sorry, that you see on the bottom of the NCAA specifically talks about to international student athletes and how you can get started. And it has a whole session of frequently asked questions that I know there might be of great interest to you. Another great resources, as I said, and I want to again reinforce, please download this guide, read it, and if you have the possibility, print it so you can have it in hand. Another helpful resource is that you visit this website, scholarshipstats.com. It will give you opportunities on the different scholarships available and what schools you can get into, what do they offer, what are your chances of playing this sport, and what athletic scholarships are available. So I will suggest you to start doing this research. And also the website that you see on the bottom, that it's called berecruited.com. And before we wrap up, this is just the last part of my session. I just wanted to share this timeline that we have put together for this year 9, year 10, year 11, year 12. As I mentioned at the beginning, some of the things might be a little bit more challenging to you because you already probably in year 10 or year 11 or etc. So these are some of the things that you need to start catching up, so you have a better journey in this process. So for year 9, plan, work hard to earn your best grades possible. Begin taking classes that are considered NCAA core courses. As I said, review the resource that I gave you that specifically talks about Mexican education system and the courses that you might be taking right now. Register for a free profile page. This is how I started my presentation. Go to the eligibilitycenter.org to receive reminders about NCAA academic and also amateurism requirements. And also, it's never too early to start your research. For year 10, again, register for a profile page, or if you want to pay the $150 for a certification account with the NCAA Eligibility Center at the website that I just mentioned. Keep tracking your core courses, making sure that they will be the requirements that the NCAA asks. Of course, you can start doing your research to see when you want to take the SAT or the ACT. Begin practicing for these exams. Take get a guide. There are many resources online that we as Education USA can share with you in order for you to start preparing. Begin research on possible NCAA schools that might be a good fit. Timeline for year 11. Keep taking those classes that will be NCAA requirements. Take your SAT or ACTs. If they are a requirement, you can send your scores to the code that you see on screen. It will send them directly to the NCAA Eligibility Center. Begin reaching out to college coaches. Get your students' profile ready and also work on your footage to share that. And also for your year 12 plan, complete your final NCAA core courses, take your standardized test, and of course, get your certifications ready. After you graduate on time, request that your high school send, of course, all of your transcripts and acceptable proof of graduation to the NCAA Eligibility Center. So as you can see, I'm going back to year 9 and 10. These are some of the things I already talked about, and you can start doing research and that you can start working a little bit more on, and of course, reach out to your advisor to see how we can help you. And now, I don't know if you guys have any questions or comments. You can unmute yourselves, or you can type any questions on the chat. I know it's a lot of information to process, new information to most of you. But again, the recording will be available to you, the presentation as well, so you take the chance to review all these resources. If you have any other questions after reviewing these resources, make sure to reach out to your advisor, or you can reach out to me, and we'll be your best advocates in answering your questions. So I don't know if you have any comments or questions, or if Juanma or Jenny or Elizabeth, if you're still in the audience, if you still want to add anything before we let them go?
Thank you so much, Andy. I just wanted to reinforce what you just said about this being a lot of information. But remember that each one of you as a student has an advisor here. And remember that together we're going to help you make sense of the information. And if you think it's overwhelming, and also to create your own particular plan. Because like Yandi said, showed us the plan and the to-do list, if you will, for each one of the different years. So you may be here and you're in ninth, right? So your work is, okay, I'm in ninth ninth grade. I'm going to work with Juanma, with Yandi, with Elizabeth or Yandi. I'm going to work with them to see what things I should be doing right now. Maybe you are in 11th grade, right? And you need to see, let's sit down and let's meet. Hopefully you're meeting with your advisor and see, making sense of all the information. Like Andy said at the beginning, you need the surveys and the strengths survey and all of the things, the personality survey and all of those things. You need to be checking with your advisor on weekly or bi-weekly basis, right? So here as a group, we're learning all this information, but with your advisor, you're making your own personal plans, right? Remember that, very important that you're meeting with your advisor. Just wanted to reinforce what Yandi already said. So questions, anybody having any questions about the topic today?
As I said, I know it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information for us as advisors to process and to learn in order to help you guys. So yeah, maybe I know other questions will come up later as you start working on these and as you start reviewing these resources. There are no dumb questions. Reach out to us so we can get your questions answered. Thank you so much for being here today and for attending this session. I will share with you this presentation and this recording tomorrow on Google Classroom. And I know my colleagues will also be reaching out. We will see you next Tuesday again at 6 p.m. Mexico City time for our next session. I'm not sure what we're talking about, but it'll be helpful for you to be here. Don't miss out. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. See you next week.
Have a good one. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you next week.
Adios.